Hello everybody and welcome back to what is the 6th episode of Engines of VIA. Today we'll be looking at the United Aircraft Turbo Train. Now this video might be a bit shorter and may lack some information since the UAC Turbo Train was not that well documented. But I pulled it off before, so I think the episode will be okay. I mean, it's only really because I make most of the openings 1 minute long. Like, to be honest, I'm really only saying all this stuff here so I can try to make the video as long as I possibly can. With that actually being said, let's talk about the next episode. So like I said last episode, episode 5, we will do the Bud Rail Diesel Car, and then after we do the RDC for the final main Engines of VIA episode, we will do my personal favorite engine, the Bombardier Light Rapid Comfortable. I personally can't actually wait to write the next 2 episodes. I also kinda can't wait to edit them either, which is kinda weird for me. Anyway, no more delaying what I have to do. Let's get into episode 6, the UAC Turbo Train. The UAC, United Aircraft and Transportation Company, Turbo Train was built between 1967 and 1968. There was a total of 8 train sets built for various railroads that include Canadian National, Amtrak, New Haven, and Penn Central. But when CN passed over passenger service to VIA, they also passed on their turbo trains as well. They weighed, all 7 cars in total, an outstanding 370,944 pounds. They had a top speed of 274 kilometers an hour, although they were restricted to 193 kilometers an hour. Their engine is not your typical EMD or MLW engine. The turbo trains had a gas turbine engine. Here in Canada, CN had the max amount of cars you could put on a turbo train consist. They had 7 cars, unlike Amtrak who had 5 cars per set. The power output of the engines was 2,000 horsepower. Out of the 8 train sets that were built, CN had the most. CN purchased 5 sets of 7 cars. The CN/VIA turbo train also had a longer career than the Amtrak turbo trains. Amtrak scrapped the fleet sometime after 1976 after CN turned down the 5 train sets. However, VIA Rail operated the turbo up until October of 1982 when the final turbo made her run before being scrapped. The turbo was replaced by the Bombardier LRC. The LRC was a lot more fuel friendly and better in terms of exhaust. The LRC also had the advantage of the engine could be detached from her coaches, unlike the turbo whose coaches shared trucks, making maintenance a pain, much like Amtrak's Acela Express. The LRC could also pull the blue lightweight coaches with the aid of a steam generator. Unlike the turbo who could only have her 2 engines and her cars. The classification of the turbo was, get ready for this, B111111B. The B's are the 2 engines on both ends and the 1s are coaches in between. The turbo's front could be opened up, exposing the normal knuckle coupler, much like the European high-speed trains. This is a picture of an FB7 towing a turbo train. I think the main question here is, did the turbo train fail at what it was designed to do? No. The turbo train was an icon for CN. On top of the engine being iconic, it also holds Canada's land speed record. Although the turbo train did have some major problems, one of the biggest problems that arose with all 8 sets was their tilt control. For those people that don't know what tilt control is, watch this clip that describes what tilt control is.
Turbo's suspension system is designed to permit it to take roadbed curves at speeds up to 30% higher than conventional trains. The principle of the self-banking pendulous suspension is based on supporting the cars at a point above the center of gravity. When turbo rounds a curve, the force that tends to throw the car outward is reversed. The car is banked into the curve, turning in the way an aircraft does. 2 cars share a single set of wheels instead of the conventional setup where each car has 2 independent trucks of 4 wheels each.
Now that you know what tilt control is, now we can continue. Another problem that was getting worse was rising oil prices. The main goal of the turbo train was fuel efficiency, but with the higher the oil prices got, the more it costed VIA to refuel the locomotives. In 1973, CN put the turbo trains through a rebuild. This rebuild took the 5 turbo trains and made them into 3 sets of 9 cars instead of the old 5 sets and 7 cars. Anyway, I feel like this episode was really short. It was. I'm going to have to add some clips in to make it meet the goal of 5 minutes. Like I said at the beginning, it's not easy to find information on the turbos. I really do apologize for it being the worst episode yet. Anyway, at least you guys can look forward to episode 7, the Bud RDCs. So stay tuned for the next episode of Engines of VIA.